Welcome gamers to the start of a mini-series about Star Dynasties. My name is Dynastic. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're going to enjoy this series, and I hope that I can do justice to just how good this game actually is. This is an incredibly good game. It's a game set in space. It's sort of like a feudal society has sort of expanded out through the galaxy, and it's all just human-based. There's no aliens or anything like that, but they've sort of gone through the galaxy, which is what we're sort of seeing on the screen at the moment. And then there's been an overall collapse. Like Earth was the central core of the governments in the galaxy. That's been destroyed, and with it, all infrastructure has been destroyed. We're now in the middle of a very, very big dark age through the galaxies, or through the actual galaxy, and everything has descended down now to almost like a feudal society. It's very, very much like the Landsraad from Dune, if you sort of know their backstory with that one, or the lore of Dune, where the families are a feudal society and they essentially have to use subterfuge and politics and military to sort of get their way and do what they do. Another similarity is that each holding, or each house, and you can see in the middle there, House Tacticus is the one that I've sort of set up through this particular game. I won't be playing this game, by the way. I just wanted to sort of show how the game works. But the houses can only control one planet, and so they need other barons and dukes and things like that to sort of side with them to form the actual political boundaries that we sort of see through here. So basic boundaries like we see with the House Tacticus or the Wu Coalition, these are dukes that control a number of different baronies in the different systems that are around the place. Some of them, and I can't see, here we go, the Saunders Coalition consists of a duke in the Lewis sector who is beholden to an archon in the Saunders Coalition. But in this case, this would be quite an interesting playthrough actually, because there's a lot of dukes, there's a lot of room for manoeuvre, and so there's a lot of intrigue that then comes with the actual game itself. And because you can only directly control one planet, you really have to try to keep everyone else on side to support your claims on things and to sort of support you in wars. It's very, very dynamic. It has been hailed as like a Crusader Kings, but set in a Stellaris type universe, and I don't think that does it justice. This is much, much more than that. It's not very pretty to look at. I mean, it's sort of certainly functional, which is fine by me. I don't need games to sort of be overly pretty. Like in this sort of instance, I'm finding that the user interface is extremely narrowed in on things, and when you're trying to get information, it's very easy to get the information that you want. So for me, it's very, very functional, the actual overall design of the game. So I really like that aspect of it, even though it is fairly simplistic. I thought what I'd do in this episode, this will be in episode 0, where I sort of just go through how the game is sort of structured, the overriding game mechanics, and then in episode 1 we'll actually go into the actual gameplay, and I'll also set up the game for what we're going to be doing, because the setup is quite interesting as well. We are playing with the Bloodlines DLC, which I'll explain what that is as well when we actually get into it. So, where to start? It's a game with a lot of intricacies without a lot of complexity. It's still quite involved, but it's a lot of fun as well. And so there's 3 basic areas that you sort of play the game. And I'll just zoom in a little bit into our territories. We can sort of see that down through here, hang on, I'll just right click and drag this one down. You can use the WASD keys to move around. And really that's as far in as it goes with the zoom. And, so you can sort of zoom out to this area through here. And so you can see, one of the interesting things I should just point out is that there's unknown areas of space where we know there's some sort of civilization, like the Aeus Kingdom looks like they've actually got a big area through here. So this must be an archon in control of this particular area of space, which is a little bit removed from where we are. Like we're over here, and to get across there would be quite involved to actually get to this where this is. That's why we don't know much about it. Similarly in here, we know that there's something in here. We don't know much about it though. And so it's really quite nice the way it does work. And this looks like this is the edge of the galaxy back out through this side, but that it expands deeper and further down this way. There's areas that we've sort of lost information on back through this side. So we're very much in a galactic dark age is the way it sort of does then work. So if I just sort of zoom in so we can sort of see the individual planets, and through here you can see UVCT is our particular system that we control. And so there's the system view, and so when I click on this one, it will then bring up essentially what's happening on each of the actual planets. So I can go to this planet here. Actually, these aren't controlled by anybody. So Betria and Formalhaut, they're not, but these are. So you can see there, they're beholden to us. And when we click on them, we can sort of see, which families controls this particular one. They're a member of our house, but they're not actually of our house. So they could rebel if they wanted to. And so we've got like different characters. This is Baron Kitiko. Garrett is in charge of this particular location here. And I'll just go back to ours. It's probably a little bit easier to sort of see what's going on. So this is us. We were represented by Duchess Xavier Tacticus is the one that we've actually set up in this particular game. And I'll talk more about that aspect in just a minute. But let's start at the galactic view, galactic sort of area when we actually do look at this one through here. And so what we can see is that the planets themselves have also got, like this one's mineral rich, so we get extra wealth. We also then have a tetralemonol, which is and it's basically a drug that increases our security. So they're just aspects of it, and there'll be different ones across many of the others as well. Like this one here is a rightful ruler, which helps them sort of establish their rule there, and they're illegitimately owned those. So that could cause problems for us, for example. So even though these guys is the rightful ruler, there is political pressure to oust him or to rebel against us, one of the two. So it's intricate the way it sort of does work. But anyway, we'll just go back into here. And so what we have in through this side is really just each system has got installations. Most of the installations have run into disrepair, which is what we sort of see down the bottom here. And we've got 3 installations, and I'll talk about this when we actually get into the game itself, but that's essentially how they sort of then do work. We have other screens we can go to, like power projection, as to sort of how things are sort of working across, like actually what is power projection. It shows each ruler that can directly attack or defend this system, so we can sort of see where the attacks might come from and what they can bring to the party. I'll talk again about this when we get into the actual game itself. You can see there the Baron is actually in there as well, so he's actually part of the potential problem for attacking us. Back and through this side, we also then have claimants, like who actually has a claim to own it and a claim to rule it. Now there's a fair few with strong claims. There's no weak claims in through here, but there's a few other different aspects of this as well. Again, we'll look at that when we get into the actual game itself. There's a lot of pressure in the game, sort of established through through this sort of the political machinations of the actual empire itself. It reminds me more so than Crusader Kings. It actually reminds me more of like Legends mode from Dwarf Fortress, but in a more dynamic sort of fashion. So that's sort of where it sits more for me than Galactic than Crusader Kings. Population unrest, like we've got very, very low unrest, which is great, but it is going up slightly. And planets will then rebel at 100, which essentially then means that we've got a lot of problems. The line of succession, who's going to be next, notable houses. So we're sort of looking at the houses from this location, and then any history that sort of goes on with it as well. So that's the first layer. The second layer is the houses themselves. So that's the physical layer of the actual location. The second one, if I click on House Tacticus, we then end up with a series of screens and information that we can then do. And you'll actually notice if I do go back there again, if I click on that one there, there's certain actions that we can ultimately do as well. And I'll talk about actions in the game, but this then brings up different things that we can do militarily or politically, like running spy networks at this location. Some of these will be achievable through other areas in the game as well. So there's different things that you can actually then go and do in through here. So but we'll leave that one where that is. House Tacticus, we'll go to the actual house itself, and then so now we can sort of look at how we manage the household and how we manage the machinations from within our collective. So this is sort of how we get all the different groups. Like we've got a council, for example, and so we need to assign house members to the various areas within the council. Very similar to Crusader Kings. I don't want to keep on referencing Crusader Kings because for me it's really quite a different game. For me, it's a very, very different game. And so different characters will then have different abilities in the council. I'll just show you one example. Like, so for example, we've got this is Arthur Tacticus, who happens to be our brother-in-law. He's nearly 60 years old, and But he's got very, very good administration skills. And so if I just hover over there, it says this character's best skill is administration. That's that yellow triangle. We've got military, we've got technology. We also have, if it was green, it would be diplomacy. And if it was purple, it would be security. And so our basic amounts that we actually have, we've got 48 administration in through here. And then, so on and so forth through the others. And he's best for administration. And when we hover over him, we can then sort of see down the bottom there, it's got administration with the yellow folder there with 89. So he would actually add 89 to our abilities in through this side. Now, one of the things that is impacted by administration is the number of vassals that we can have. And at the moment, we've got 4 vassals, but really we can only keep 3. And what this does is it actually very dramatically impacts our, we have a negative with the action points that we can use in the game. So we can only do up to, like when we take an action, most of them will have an action point cost. And so we can have a limited amount of those per turn, and we can only spend those per turn. By the way, sorry, I keep on sort of trying to think, what's the best way to explain this game? The date is early 2500. And each turn that we play is only 6 months. So it's 2 turns for a year. And so for every turn that comes up, we have action points to then spend. It's a turn-based game. It's not real time. And so in this case, we would then have 11 action points. So we've got 11 action points right now to spend on our very, very first turn. We're losing one of them. And when I hover over that one, you'll see it very close to where the cursor is. It says too many vassals, a -1 to too many vassals. And so we would have 12 if we didn't have too many vassals. We've only got 11 because we have to then sort of manage them because we're not really able to manage them any other way. The other thing that this impacts us with is our money. So if we go across over to here to income and expenses, we'll then see that cost of having too many direct vassals is -3.1. Otherwise, we've got an income of 6.2. It should have been 9.3, but we lost money because of too many vassals. So we have to manage the vassals. And one of the ways that we do that is by assigning council members into administration or over into technology. So if I go to the administration area, just go and click on plus, appoint a head of administration, and it wants to appoint our brother-in-law. He's got the best skill set. Our sister has a 45 as well. And sometimes you may decide, okay, look, she's got a good score. He may have an excellent score or a very good score in something else, like technology. He's 26. But in this case, we'll just go and appoint him. That then takes us over 100. Now, for every 50, we were 48 before this, by the way. I should have pointed that out. For every multiple of 50, we have one more that we can actually then have with vassals. And so we've gone from 4 out of 3 to 4 out of 5 because we're now over 100. And for every 75 multiple I can actually get yet more vassals. So in this particular game, in each game that you play is completely random the way the galaxy works, which is great. And so in this instance, we've got the vassals. We're now going to be okay. We're going to get more money. We're going to have more action points. Just doing that cost me 2 action points. Anyway, that's managing the household. And so again, we've got things, for example, like house members, the vassals, the direct vassals that we have. These are the baronesses and barons that we have in the other different locations. We've got anybody that's visiting us at the moment, hosted guests. We had a look at income there before. We've got the military, like, what sort of special things we can do, what wars we're involved in, and what characters can actually have an impact on our military if they're in command of our military. So they have different abilities back and through this side. Claims that are then made, so we can actually sort of claims on the faction, and so we can sort of then go and check and see who's got what. Like, we've got a strong claim on our faction, which is what you'd expect, but then so does Kiana Tacticus, which is our sister, I believe. Yeah, so one of our sisters also has a strong claim on the actual thing. So there may be problems within the family. So you just don't know what's going to actually happen. It's a very, very interesting and, as I say, quite a wild ride when you do play this one. I'll just go and click on OK there. The line of succession, who's coming up next, and then any sort of history that might actually have happened. And if we click on history, the only one that we've done so far is just appoint our brother-in-law to the council as head of administration. And so that's literally all that we've sort of done. Now we can go to show more if there was anything more in through here, show less as well. So we can sort of click on these to then sort of get exactly, whatever depth of information that we want. And I will be trying to play this where we see things, where we actually have a close look at the actual story, because this is very much a story generator more so than just a strategy game. So think of it in that sort of term as well. Like, enjoy the ride, I guess, is really the way to sort of play this game. Again, like Dwarf Fortress. That's why, for me, it's much more like Dwarf Fortress than most other games, or the Legend mode anyway. So we'll just go back. House members is the default view when you're looking at the actual faction itself. The last area, or the third, I guess the third layer in the game, is to then have a look at the actual characters. And so when I click on a character, and all the characters can be clicked on, they have then their age, their reputation, their happiness. And so this, on this first screen through here, I think, okay, her reputation is pretty bad. We need to look after these. It's very important that we actually do have a good, strong reputation. Otherwise, we will actually have rebellions. So we need to be careful of that one. Similarly with happiness, this is like a multiplier to, you know, things like action points and money and stuff like this that we actually get to do. It impacts what they can do with their job role. And their job role, as you can see with her, she's got like a score in administration, military, diplomacy, security, and technology. So she is actually applying these base numbers to the rule along with her council. This is sort of how things are then worked out. So if the more happy she is, the stronger her performance in these different areas is, and that then has impacts through the game. It's simple in that sense that you can actually not worry too much about it, or it's really intricate if you want to sort of play a bit under the hood there and just really try to micromanage the machinations that are going on to sort of try to get the most out of this. So it's up to you as to how superficially you play the game or how deeply you play the game. And as I say, there's a lot to like about this game, an incredible lot to like about this game. So anyway, this is the character screen. You've got your basic feelings. Now, it's also, there are, like this, well, this is actually our character, but if we go to any other character, they're going to default look back to what they think of us. So as we have a look through, we'll just have a quick look. We've got our family in through this side. That little blue line underneath there is what they think of us. So that's a pretty strong thought process through there. It looks like everybody is pretty much behind us. We've got we've got a few that. So this is Arthur Tacticus. Even he's actually fairly happy with us. Here we go. We've got Darby Wilkinson, our mother-in-law, doesn't like us. So we can actually sort of, if we clicked on her, for example, this comes up. The opinion of Duchess Xaveria Tacticus, and so she's got a negativity there. Why does she have the negativity? She has the personal. She's got a personality. She's humble and sorry, are we humble? No, we're humble, but we're also dull. And so she likes that we're humble, but she doesn't like that we're dull. And also she's individualistic and we're tribal in our thinking. So there's another negative 14. So just a real personality clash between us. But if we had have done different things, there might be actions. There's an action towards. So we put Executive Arthur Tacticus back in. So he's been promoted to the council. She didn't like that move, but not by very much. So there's little things like this in play all the way through. Every action that you do could or may not have a different aspect, and sometimes your personalities are just not going to be there. So for us, we actually have a humble personality. We have a tribal personality where we sort of more of a collective look at society. We are dull, so this is going to make life, quite difficult. Minus 14 to opinion from non-dull people and non-charming people as well. So we've got a problem there, just being boring. And then finally, this one is a bisexual character. So you're playing, you're managing the family characters as they come through. So you're not playing, you are essentially playing as her, but if she dies, you then play as her heir and so on and so forth through the game. So you've got feelings, you've got the actual family itself, where you can sort of look at the actual household. You can include dead people as well to sort of see what's actually happened through there. The family tree is really quite cool. And so this is the family tree that we sort of see. So we're actually back over here. Actually, we're the youngest sister of our father. So I'm not sure how that's happened that we've actually got into this. Now, he had another relationship. This sister is from a different mother, I think. Oh, no, she's married to this guy. Yeah, so anyway, this again just shows you the different machinations through the actual game itself. Our 27-year-old sister has married the executive Arthur Tacticus back and through here. So she's married him, for example. So you can see all the different intricacies, and I can click on these characters as well to bring them up on the side if we wanted to. Anyway, let's just go back to our character and have a bit of a look from this perspective. So that's that's family. Then we've got justice. So favours banked. So the promotion of your brother-in-law to the council. He owes us now a favour. For 10 turns, we can actually sort of do something where we ask him to do something for us because he now owes us one, because we've sort of promoted him to he owes us a favour because we've put him into the actual council. Now, there's certain characters that won't happen with. Like, it's expected that our husband would end up on the council. So there's no favour with that. That's just an expectation. So the game is full of little things like this where you're trying to balance positives and negatives a lot. Over through here, we have any secrets. We don't have any secrets at this stage. Inheritances. Relationships. We'll have admirers, people who really, really like us a lot, like our father. And then we have people who are enemies. And there we go. We've got Baroness Nashu Wu, who's part of a different group. And we also then have Sir Kenneth Wilkinson, our brother-in-law, who is also very much against us. Now, our mother-in-law didn't highlight in here, but she's also an enemy, essentially. So and that little bar underneath is the like and dislike. So if we click on him, for example, we can see he really doesn't like us a lot. And most of it's just personality problems in through this side. So he's actually, we're humble and he's actually proud. So that's actually a negative for him because he's a proud character. There's often these dichotomies between different aspects like humble and proud, etc. So anyway, that's the way that's sort of then working. Hang on, I'll just get rid of the codex. The codex, by the way, is really cool. Like just to sort of, if you want to sort of see anything, this really is very, very thorough, I've got to say. It works in very, very nicely. Okay, so that's sort of basically I'll just go back in again. We did relationships. Any claims that we actually have. So we've got a strong claim on House Tacticus and colonies. We've got a claim on UV Ceti, which is actually, or Ceti, which is actually our home anyway. So these are the only claims that we actually have. But there'll be other people with different claims as well. And then finally, we've got our personal history. And the personal history is showing that we did assign our brother-in-law to the actual council. So we can see through the histories as the game is then played. Anyway, I've spent a lot of time on this one. One thing I do want to just sort of quickly show is the actual way that the game can be shown. Like with all of these down through here, this is the default view. We've got like a population unrest view. We can see there that Beta Eridani has got like 69.4% rebel, like unrest. So that's actually, and it's getting worse at 3 per turn. We're down at 13.2. We are getting worse and worse. So you can sort of see across known space where, what the rebellion factors may end up sort of being, which is interesting to have a look at as well. You've then got things like the vassals' wars, if there's any wars. You've got the opinion of colony rulers as well. Like this one, looks like we've got, that's us in through there. We don't have very much support with what's going on, so we have to sort of try to get that one up and running. I don't know if it changes as we click on things. Yeah, everyone's not really all that happy with the various sort of leaders in the different areas. So it's the start of the game. That chops and changes a bit over time. Where we've got family. So we can sort of see that we've got family connections in through our territory through here, but there may be other areas that we actually have family. Like it looks like that we may have had somebody marry into this particular area. So actually, here we go. So Gamma Trianguli is ruled by Baron Jaden Golden, your brother-in-law's father. So there's a loose family connection to this particular area. And if I click on Gamma Trianguli, we'll then see there's like an orange bloodline aspect through there, and another one in through here as well. And so these are loosely related to us. So there is a connection back into those different areas. And when I click on these and have a look at them, we then sort of we'll see other family. Actually, no, we're not going to. Yeah, we're going to see. Yeah, there's that loose family connection in through there. He does have another family connection back in through this side as well. So looking at him, we can then sort of see that this guy. So Rosalis is ruled by Duchess Elizabeth Strickland, Baron Jaden Golden's distant relative. So that's a distant relationship in through there as well. So there's a lot of intricacies as we start to go through the actual game. Colony installations, we can sort of see what the numbers we have in through here, for example. So back in through this side, we can see that we've actually got 3, I think we'd sort of see. I think we've got 3 there. They've got 2. We're not going to see much more than just reds and oranges at this stage until we start to build in the game. In fact, you can see there functional 2, 3, 2, 3, 3. Not seeing anything more than 3 actual functional aspects on the actual surface of the planets themselves. Back through here we have the faction rulers, what they think of us. So all of these guys, actually these do like us a fair bit. Yeah, so green have a good opinion on the actual character. Now, if I go across and look, for example, at the ruler through here, there may be an option to see if there's anyone that really doesn't like her, for example. But that's sort of looking like, that's actually all fairly healthy. There may be other options back in through this side. Like if we go to Grumian and have a bit of a look at this character, he's not very well liked amongst the others by the looks of things. Actually, I may be reading that one incorrectly. Anyway, we'll continue on. This is the combat prediction, which is really important. At the moment, it looks like we've got a very good chance of, like, if the battle comes through this way, we've got a very good chance of being able to protect this. And similarly, if it comes back in through this side or this side, we also have an option here. If we attack this system here, we can see the chance of victory is great if we actually attack this system. So this one could become quite a target. Whereas if we go back through to Nashira, it's a terrible chance for us to actually have a victory, but it's also a great chance in through here for us to be able to defend properly. Sometimes this will change to red, like this one here, for example, is not like this one looks like it's going to be difficult for us to defend. Back in through here again, we've got another problem. It's a terrible attack there, terrible attack in through there, but we have a really good defense back in our home systems. So this is quite an important screen to just have a look at the actual what happens with combat. We've then got betrayal, like the chance of betrayal. This is not good, so we've got a potential problem back down the bottom there. If we just go back and click on this one here, so we can sort of see where there's chances of betrayal with these as well. So just their overall loyalties, etc. So yeah, it's interesting the way the game sort of does then play with this. Any contacts that we have, like the amount of contact. Actually, sorry, that was looking at the wrong one, wasn't I? That's us. Yeah, that's okay. So these are all pretty strong, and it looks like we could possibly even flip these if we had to. I think that's sort of what that's sort of then showing us. We don't know much about the other sectors further away from us. The contact, like how strong the contact is that we have with different parties around the galaxy. Any assignments that we give to our characters, this just simplifies the map right down so we can see any tasks that we've given our council to go and do things. Like, for example, we could go and tell the executive here to like assigning tasks. So assist tax collection, if I just do this one, for example, or rebuild the fleet. If I rebuild the fleet in Alheria, we can send him across this Baron to help out, so we can go and click on that one. And so he's now doing that action. So and by keeping this one on, we then can see these underneath. So rebuild fleet at Alhena, assigned to Executive Arthur Tacticus. And so we're getting a higher degree of military replenishment. So that's sort of how that one then does work. And then finally we have military strength as well. And so the military, which we'll talk about in game, you have like a basic number above here. In fact, if we have a look at ours down through here, we've only got up to 10 that we can actually control. This is really quite low. So our military is not very strong at this point in time. And we've only got 7 serviceable ships at this point in time out of a possibility of having 10. Now, this one is actually looking fairly strong, which is, yeah, okay, I may have read that other screen a bit incorrectly there. But the 7 is made up of 2 bombers, which is the first one, 3 interceptors, and 2 frigates. And the way the game works is that you have limited control over combat, which is fine because we're playing a turn-based sort of simulation game. And the bombers are very effective against frigates. The interceptors are very effective against bombers, and the interceptors against bombers, and the frigates are very good against interceptors. So that's sort of the way that the rock paper scissors aspect of combat then actually does work. And so when we go to attack different things, or if we get called in, we have certain ships that we can then sort of go across, and also depending on what we think of a character is how much they'll then support us, or that we can support them with actual ships. So anyway, that's the basic sort of interface in the game, which is, as I say, very, very serviceable. I think what we might do is go back out now and actually set up a game. This is going to be a longish episode, I guess. So this is Star Dynasties with the Bloodlines DLC. Let's just go to a new game. It's going to say, so we've got different difficulty settings. Now, we've got easy, which will give us house points of 10 and starting character points of 10. Medium, which I've got it selected on, is 5 and 5. Hard is zeros across, and challenge is -5. So these are the different ways common ways of sort of playing it. So it determines only how much customization points you have during game configuration. Custom removes point restrictions, allowing you to role play any start. So we've got 99 of each for the house points and the starting character points. So we can have anyone we like, basically, as good as we like, if you do play custom. Now, the game itself, what this essentially means is not how easy it is to play the game when you're playing it, but just how strong your house is and how strong your planet is essentially what we're looking at through there with this medium there. So the house points and the character points, we start off with a very, very good leader, like the more of those points we have, and the house points then give us a very, very good, strong house and or planet. Okay, let's get started. So we'll configure a new start. One of the things, I'll just go through sort of how things do work. As I say, this will take a little bit of time to go through. So we've got 5 house points. Now I can get more house points by taking negatives. So for example, I can go with a home system with poor infrastructure. So the colony in your home system was never wealthy and starts at a disadvantage compared to most. So we have -2 installations in the home system and -1 repaired installations in the home system. So we end up with very, very little on the surface. Like we've got to sort of start from absolute bare bones. But we do get 2 more points from that if we wanted to. So actually I'll come back to this, because what we might do is I will set this top bit up. Like you can see there, we've got essentially the house name, the faction name, and then the succession, like what succession rule we're going to be sort of running with. And there's a whole range of them in through there that you can sort of go with. You can change these later on in the game, but you have to be careful how you do it, because it can have a very negative impact if you do sort of chop and change this. The emblems as well, you've got like a heap of different icons to choose from, to anything that you sort of do want to actually sort of have, and also then you've got your colour scheme as well. So colours in through there, just different sort of like a combination, colour combinations essentially through the actual game itself, which is cool. That's good. Simple. It's simple, but it's it leads to a lot of personalisation, and we can just pick them randomly. Get them to sort of choose different things if we wanted to. And same with this as well. I can just go and get them to pick a random name if they want to. But I will set this one up properly, and so I'll do that now. I'll just pause the game. There we go. We'll start off with House Tacticus in this instance, and I'll just pick this symbol in this colour scheme to sort of get us started. Now back in through here. We've still got 5 points to spend because these don't cost any points. There's no real benefit from these. And so if I pick something like this, it will then stop me from having great infrastructure or the drone hangar, corporate tower, assembly plants, etc. like this. So if I go, I don't think I can, I can't pick on them anymore. If I unselect those, they then still become available. So we can set up our home system by spending these points to have advantages, or we can take some negatives to then sort of push things through. And so if you hover over it, you're going to get basic information. So this one here would be plus, if we have great infrastructure, we're going to get +2 installations in the home system and +1 repaired installations in the home system. And these can be quite valuable. So with only 2 we have, like that's not bad. It's a random pick as to what we actually have, but it means that over the course of the game we're going to be able to have a little bit of an advantage. I might click on that one and you'll see that other ones then turn off when you actually do that. So it will sort of make other things non-selectable, but in this case that's all fine. I can go into other bits and pieces as well, like rebellious. We have a +2% rebellion risk per turn if we have rebellious, but we do get 1 extra point. I've still got 3 left. There's a whole lot of different things in here. I'll pause this and we'll just go through, but you can see there's a mountain of them. So some of them will be like an upstart duke, where basically we're going to be struggling because as a duke we're going to have a lot of our barons will be against us. We can just have the actual house abilities as well. So it doesn't just have to be the system. The home system can have different things, like actually mineral rich is a good one. 10% to wealth generated by the system is a great one. It does turn off a lot of the others. And we don't want the -5. Actually, that's really bad. So -20% income, the spendthrifts and racestrals in through there. I've got 1 more point left over. In fact, what I can do is if I find something that I really want, like if there's something that I really particularly want, like Diplomats in the blood, for example. Like if I want this one, but it's going to cost me 2, I can also change my family customization. At the moment, it's 90 customization points for family, and I've got 1 point available. I want to spend 2, so let's just do that one as well. Actually, I won't do that one. I'll see if there's military. That's tactical tradition. That's the fleet strength in through there. House bean counters. The bean counters one's a good one, actually. I can't see there the historical act of cruelty is a bad one. Diplomats in the blood. Yeah, actually that's 6 points. That's even more expensive than anything else. Look, I'll go diplomats, why not? That way we can sort of use diplomatic machinations in the game. So we're now -1, and the only other way I can really sort of get that is either to take a negative in here or to drag this one backwards a little bit and only have 85 points to spend. So it's costing me -1 in through there because we've now got less to spend with the family. All right, that's the house. Now we'll go across to character. By the way, you can ultimately have configurations that you then use as well. So you can sort of load configurations in, which I haven't played with actually, so I'm not really too familiar with that one. I will set one up I'll just go a random at this stage. Just get a male, so I'll just make this one Daz Tacticus. There we are. Why not? And I'll go, the age you've either got young or middle-aged. At the moment, we've still got the 5 points. If I go middle-aged, it doesn't do much. I'll go middle-aged. Why not? That way, it'll be sort of a bit more slow to sort of he'll die off a bit faster. I don't know if we'll get through that as well. I'll keep all of this on here, but you can sort of chop and change this, quite dramatically as well. In fact, now I'm going to have to sort of pick something. I'll just wish I could go back to sort of the starting guy. He looked pretty good. There we go, that'll do. And I can also just change the direction that he's looking for the for his sort of overview of what he actually does do. These don't animate. This is just sort of like a representation, but it's surprising when you're playing the game how much you sort of become connected to the various little icons or the avatars for the characters that you're sort of playing with or against. Now I've got the best skill in through here. I can sort of go and pick what's going to happen in through here. So we've got administration in through there. What I might do is we've already got a military ability. A diplomacy ability because of what we chose for the house. But let's actually now make ourselves like a military ability or administration. Administration allows us to do a lot. I think I'll keep it administration. And again, I could pick randomly in here if I wanted to. So security and the remaining skills are going to be good, which is going to cost me 4 points, which means I then have to try to make up the various aspects of our personality based on what we then have available to us. So this is not really what I want to do. I'll just go and get, I'll keep it on average. I will make it administration up through there. And at the moment we've got 0 points. Now we've got satisfied. So this character is not focused on material gain. They'll typically spend their wealth. So there's all different aspects of their characters that you can sort of then do as well. So let's just go down. Now proud is a -6. I'll just turn that one off for a second. Intelligent is a good one. I think I'll keep that one. It just gives us a lot of boosts across. Now that's 8 points. So to get that one, I need to get rid of satisfied as well. So satisfied is, and you can see there, energetic is the opposite of lazy, dull is the opposite of charming, stupid is the opposite of intelligent. So we'll keep intelligent and we'll just go to satisfied. But I do need to get myself a -3 somewhere. Now, I've got individualistic, feels responsible primarily for themselves. Where's a -3? I can get tribal with a -4. Now I can get cruel. Why not? That'll be fun. That'll make life a bit more fun. It's going to then impact our diplomacy, but why not? Let's go and play that way. We've still got 1 more point, so we'll get tribal as well. So this character is family-oriented and tends to act in the best interest of their kin. They're also likely to want more children and less likely to ask for a divorce. And so this is, it's all about family first for us in this sort of instance, but we are cruel. And so that's the one negative trait that we actually do have. There was greedy there as well, which we could have gone as a hoarder. We do get extra administration and less diplomacy. But I think we'll go this way. This could be more fun, I think, playing it in this sort of style. So that's the character set up. And now we just go across to family. Now we start off with ourselves in here. This is part of the Bloodlines DLC. We can do different things with this. Again, we can load configurations in if we've sort of got things that we've done before. We've got, again, we can go back in and add a parent. So we can actually go and add in, and we can build this painstakingly character by character, add a child, a parent, add a spouse, or we can actually go and edit the actual characters themselves. Now, the easiest way to do this is to either generate a balanced family or a random family. I'm going to do a balanced family because the game isn't easy, and so the balanced family will then just give me a good spread between the various aspects like administration, etc. So when we do this one, we've still got 10 points left to spend. If I don't like what I see, so we've got our wife is 55, so Blythe Tacticus. She's high in technology. We can hover over this to sort of see. Actually, no, we can't see what she's got at this stage. I've got a couple of diplomacies back and through this side. I might just generate another balanced family until we get a low number through here. So this one, we've got Aria Tacticus as well, so she's our spouse. She's high in diplomacy. We've got a couple of administrations there with our kids. One of our kids is underage, but the other one is actually fairly high. High technology with our mother, so our mother is still alive and a member of our house. We have a now this is a child of Danica Tacticus, so that's our sister back and through here. She's high in military, and we also have her child is good at security. So this is our household. Let's just go with this one. So we'll start the game now. This will close the current game. Yes. Now, if I don't like what I see, I can actually restart with the same parameters. Let's have a quick look and sort of see where we are. So we're in here in the Capella area. We're in control of ourselves. There's still more over here that we're not. I don't know how they got to there. There must be another loop that goes back out this side. We've only got a couple of access points back in, and even back into the Capella system. And we've got actually there's a Archon that's right next door, but he doesn't rule us, but he's got quite a large area of space that we can sort of see through there. There's another Archon up this way. So we've got two Archons next to us. This looks interesting. But if I didn't like it, I could actually go out and just set up the same game with exactly the same character and so on and so forth. Anyway, that's where we'll leave it, guys. I hope that this has sort of tickled your fancy a little bit for the game, even though we haven't really got into any actual gameplay yet. And in the next episode, we'll start episode 1 and get right into it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.